Hey, good afternoon to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is not so bright and freaking early. It's about 3 p.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. You're probably going to be watching this video Thursday morning. So if you're watching it Thursday morning, happy Thursday to you. It's bright and freaking early, 3 a.m. Okay, that being said, this is kind of a serious video. It just kind of, as I was reading different stories about Britney Spears, this story that I'm going to talk about popped up on my radar a couple days ago. And this happens once in a while where I see a story and it takes a few days for me to start realizing the parallels, the similarities that it has to something that went on in my life. The reason I'm talking about this is if there's people out there, if you're watching my video, please think about what I'm saying. You know, if you've had a fallout with some of your family members and you're not on speaking terms, especially with Christmas coming up and that stuff like that, just seriously think about what I'm saying just a little bit, because you might, if you don't, you might regret it further down the line. All right, what am I talking about? Jamie Spears, Britney Spears' father, 71 years old. Apparently, this just came out in the news that he has had his leg amputated. One leg. I don't know if it's the left or right. I think it's one leg. He's had his leg. I don't know exactly where the amputation is in the last month. Apparently, he had a bacterial infection, and he had surgery on it 5 times trying to fix it. And I had something very similar just happen to me. I bumped my left calf on the pedal on my bike. And it just started, I had a hard time healing. It didn't heal for months, and it was starting to get concerning, but that's not what this video is about. Okay, and we all know the relationship that Britney Spears has had with her dad. They basically weren't talking because of the conservatorship and all that, and the bad feelings. And this happens a lot in families, you know, especially, I think, as people get older. You know, as you have 2 adults, an adult child and an adult parent. You know, and each person has their own life. It gets too easy to turn your back on somebody and just shut the door and just hold a grudge. And I want to talk about that because it's one of the biggest regrets I'm dealing with right now. So apparently, Britney Spears has said that now that after her father had his leg amputated, that she's kind of opened the door to reconciling with him. She said that she misses him and she's considering sending him some money to help him out with medical bills. And this is all kind of hearsay. The links will be down below. You know, this is stuff like gossip on TMZ and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of reality to what's being said here. And I'm really happy. I'm very happy for Britney Spears that she has this opportunity, because at 71 years old, her father isn't getting any younger. I mean, let's be honest. You know, this is something that's occurred to me just in the last couple of years. You know, how many more years do I have on this earth? You know, if I'm really lucky, considering the life I led, you know, 20 year, 20 years, that's it. You know, anything more than that would really be quite a blessing. So her father's 71 years old. So, you know, maybe 10 years at best, you know, and he's not going to be here forever. And once somebody passes away, all the grudges and all the bad feelings don't mean anything. And let me tell you what happened to me. Like I said, you know, Audrey, my soulmate. I'm sure you guys, I hope you're not getting sick of hearing this, but my first girlfriend when I was in 3rd grade, and we moved in together, and we had some fallouts. She was a Trump supporter, I was a liberal, and one of the biggest things was I was going to have hip surgery, and I was limping, and I was in a lot of pain, and I felt like she wasn't, you know, she didn't care. She was angry. She was angry with me, because she felt it was because of my exercising and because I didn't go to the doctor soon enough. And, you know, she had zero sympathy for me. And it made me very angry. And I basically ended up just shutting her out. And I remember going to a Christmas party. This was one of the last times I talked to her before she moved to Florida. And I didn't talk to her for a year and a half. After this Christmas party, we were at the Christmas party, and we were walking across, we were walking to get our food and look at presents and stuff like that. It was a big open, a big ballroom kind of, and I couldn't keep up with her because the pain in my hip, and I looked terrible. I was all bent over, and I could, my surgery was scheduled for about a month of, it wasn't too far away. And I got the feeling like she didn't want to be seen with me. Like she walked far ahead of me, even though we were there together. And she would just, she'd zoom over to one side of the room and one to the other side of the room, and she'd just leave me behind limping. And I was in so much pain, and I got so angry that day that I just cut off all communication with her. I just stopped talking to her for a year and a half. When I had my surgery, she actually sent me a text, like 1 or 2 words, "Hope you're feeling better," something like that. But we didn't talk for a year and a half. Right before she moved to Florida, she's the one that reached out to me. And I was relieved. I was too stubborn and pig-headed to reach out to her. I was so angry because I felt like she didn't care about my pain. She didn't care about me. And so I was relieved when she reached out to me and we started talking again. And she drove down to Florida, and within a day or two of getting there, she got COVID. She got the Delta variant of COVID. She never had any of the vaccinations. And she went to the hospital immediately. It all happened so fast. She went to the hospital immediately. I was up here in Connecticut. She was in Florida. By the time I heard that she was in the hospital, she was already in intensive care. And at that time, you couldn't, I was considering going down to see her, but you couldn't go in to visit people, at that time with COVID in the hospital room. So I talked to her sister. I was considering flying down to Florida because within the period of a month, she was intubated and in bad shape with pneumonia and skin infections, and it wasn't looking good. And I wanted to see her before anything happened. And the family told me that you might as well not even go down to see her because nobody can get in to see her anyway, and she's intubated and she's unconscious, and she wouldn't even know you're there. And she died. And she passed away. And I was so angry with her because I felt she didn't care about me because she wasn't there for my hip surgery. And she died in the hospital alone. Never hearing me say I'm sorry, never telling her I loved her for that last time. The pain and the guilt, I feel this every single day of my life now. It feels like this weight, this baggage that I'm going to have to carry forever, for the rest of my life, because I can't talk to her. I can't say I'm sorry. I can't patch this up. I can't fix the grudge I had against her, this petty thing that I felt bad because I didn't think she cared about my hip surgery. And she died. She's gone now, and she died alone in a hospital room. And I never got to say I was sorry. I never got to tell her I loved her. And all that stuff just seems so stupid and pointless and useless. All the grudges and the anger that I had for her, and I have to live with this guilt and this regret every single day of my life now. So that being said, I'm glad that Britney Spears is considering mending. No matter what her father did, he's still her father. Him and her mother are the reason she's on this earth. No matter what a mother or father does, they're always going to love their child. And it's just something that these petty little grievances over money or cars or whatever. It's so useless and petty. Once you lose somebody, you realize that stuff means nothing. The money from the conservatorship or whatever. That's your father. It's the person that put a diaper on you, that protected you when you were 3 years old, that fed you, little squabbles over money or cars or whatever, recording rights over albums or whatever. Just seems totally pointless and useless when you lose somebody. And at that point, you can't make up for it. You can't. I can never reach out to her. I can't even say one word to her. I can't say I'm sorry because she's gone now. and there's a lot of guilt and regret with that. So if you're in this position, you might want to reconsider, because people aren't going to be around forever, and it really sucks carrying that weight and that regret with you for the rest of your life. All right, you guys have a good Thursday.